say you must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance, but homie, you're dead wrong. Just take a glance, attack me if you dare, son, I will crush you. I'll crack your back, you should be scared, son, I'll bust you. Just go home and be a family man. If not, I'm gonna have to destroy your anatomy, man. It's natural for someone like me to be the world's strongest, because I'm on this, just being honest. I astonished, my
Sonic Boom
flash kicks are right here waiting for you. Wanna get your ass kicked for your plastic. Your kung fu is weak and mine is chic and spastic. Fantastic, you're not a warrior, you're just a beginner. Get up, wimp, and bask in the glory of a winner. My strength is much greater than yours. I'm a street fighting legend, the creator of wars. No use debating the score, I've waited patiently for someone to pound through the ground. I'll smash your face in the floor. Get lost, dog, I'm the boss, you can't compare with my powers. I play this game for the fame, they claim to hundreds of hours.
Listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no, you'll never win. Yo, listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no, you'll never win.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Anti-Oki Podcast, where private corporations can do whatever they want. I am Mr. Behavior, and he is Ceelows. What is up, man?
Yeah, man, I'm chilling. We're surviving. We're surviving the purge, you know.
For right now, I'm still on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right now,
I think we'll be fine, to be honest.
Yeah?
At least for some time. I mean, like it seems like the FGC isn't really like as popular as some of these other big groups. So
Yeah,
I'm just gonna have my fun.
I think you're right. I think they're kind of going after like really big fish right now.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be like kind of room to like, you know, do this whole like look for like little like smaller accounts like us that are really kind of focused on specific things. Like gamers, I don't really know if they care about us that much, to be honest. Well, except for certain ones, right?
Certain gamers
and like certain companies. So that's what
Yeah.
we're here to talk about today. I don't know if most of you know this, but our friend Gutex got his emote removed from our favorite platform, Twitch.
the best platform in the world that allows for all opinions.
I mean, you know, it's not surprising that they did this,
No.
that they removed the PogChamp emoji, because
No, it's not.
this kind of like weird virtue signaling, right? Like as if the PogChamp emoji is some sort of a like thinly veiled like racist or like any kind of istophobe idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's really just something that they made like at the start of the platform, and it was fun, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
And now it's got to be associated with some nonsense. But I think the reason for it, we're going to go into today. So let me share this image, which is a tweet from our friend Gutex. And it looks like he was not really happy with the fact that there was a person who stormed the Capitol building a couple of weeks ago at this point. If you're listening to this episode, this happened a few weeks ago. A woman died. A woman was shot by a cop and died. And it turns out she was like a 14-year Army veteran or something like that. Or Navy
something
veteran.
like that.
Anyway, so Gutex decided that he was going to comment on it because everybody's got to comment on everything nowadays. And I'm not mad that he did, right? But it is kind of like, oh man, like
Yeah.
like, do you have to?
Yeah, it's like, well, why don't we go through the tweet? So, I mean, well, basically what he said was, will there be civil unrest for the woman who was executed inside the Capitol today, or will the MAGA martyr, that's so cringe to read, MAGA martyr die in vain? The video will be aired soon on ban.video and the resistance.video, and it sounds pretty gruesome. Sometimes I feel like Gutex has like no self-awareness. I feel like sometimes like some of his tweets like he makes himself sounds like the crazy conspiracy guy by like putting in like it's gonna be on ban.com. Like most of the people who follow him are like they see that stuff as like meme websites.
Right,
like,
right.
I feel like he's got to have like some self-awareness when he writes these things. Like,
yeah.
I think this is kind of like a silly tweet, but
I agree.
And
well,
like
I see his point, right?
Yeah.
Which is like George Floyd gets killed or dies, depending on how you look at it, right? Because he had a bunch of fentanyl in the system, whatever. So he gets killed or he dies, whatever your opinion on that is. And people riot for months, right? Somebody goes into the Capitol, gets killed by a police officer, and he's basically asking the question, are they going to have the same reaction? Right.
He's really just asking questions.
Right.
And that's really key to understanding this tweet because it has been spun for a completely different interpretation from Twitch. That's what we're going to get into next.
Right. And I mean, I wonder where he got that MAGA martyr hashtag.
I have no idea either.
That's kind of a little cringe.
Yeah, it's super. You know? I read it. I was just like, oh, man, where? Like again, like where is the self-awareness here? You think people are gonna like, because it kind of makes it. It's like okay, he makes a point, but then it seems like he's like, it's the second part of the tweet is just like, okay, well now it just seems like he's serious about what he's saying.
Yeah,
just like,
right.
Like okay, he makes a point about one and not the other, but then he's like, yeah, this person's a martyr. It's just like okay, now. How do you expect people to take you seriously now?
Well, also it's interesting that people focused on that person too, because didn't like three other people die too, including a cop?
Something like that. Yeah, something like medical emergency. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, but I think that she was the first person to get out. Like people learned her name first, or something like that, and so Gutex was like commenting on that. But this is the tweet. For those of you who can't see, Ceelows just read it to you, but this was the tweet that got PogChamp removed from Twitch, and Twitch decided that they were going to respond, I guess, to people asking why they were doing this, right? Why they're removing PogChamp from Twitch. Now, I want to kind of go through Twitch's responses here because we kind of got to break this one down. This is like a little bit. This is a little bit too much. Honestly, like this is what happens when companies have monopolies over things, right? Like now they can just remove whatever they want. And the thing about it is it's like, okay, PogChamp was created how long ago? Like 10 years ago at this point?
Over 10 years ago. Yeah, it's been around since the beginning of Twitch.
Right. How does anything that happened 10 years ago have anything to do with what this guy is commenting on now? Like, how is that even relevant? You know, and it's like, it's almost as if it's like this like weird safetyism culture that we talk about sometimes. It's like, oh, if you see this thing, you're going to be triggered. Like, come on, man. Like, but
that's
anyway,
the kind of culture, man. Like,
right.
It's been going on for this kind of culture has been like manifesting itself for over 10 years where it's like, you know, like someone getting hit in the face will make you tougher. Now it's like someone gets hit in the face, we have to kick him out of school.
Right.
You know, we don't know how to deal with stuff like that. And
people are too fragile. They're too fragile. But so we have the first one of Twitch's tweets up, and it says, "We made the decision to remove PogChamp emote following statements from the face of the emote encouraging further violence at what took place in the Capitol." Wait a second. Let's stop here. How did that tweet encourage violence?
I don't know. I think the way they've been, at least from what I understand, I was trying to see like how they interpret it that way. When he says, "Will there be civil unrest?" That's somehow inciting civil unrest.
Right.
When it's a question.
Right.
Like I read that, I was just like, I was like, I see what this is. He's referring to what the events last year.
Right. Exactly.
Like, are people going to do for, like what they did for her, what they did for George Floyd? It's like, he's asking, and it's kind of rhetorical, but like he's still asking the question. It has nothing to do with like a call to action.
Right.
But you know, that's the kind of culture we're in right now, where it's like certain questions can be easily interpreted as incitements of violence. And it's like when you have an entire culture like that, that constantly thinks that so easily, that can take something so and blow it so out of context. And then you have like one giant corporation think the same thing.
Right.
All the other corporations will follow suit. And
Right.
we're seeing that over the last week. How many corporations have came out and made statements? It's like, we disavow. Same thing with BLM started. We
Right.
support. It's like they don't want to get caught up in like losing any people who buy their products. So they go, well, okay, let's virtue signal and let's get people to continue buying our products.
Well, that's what they claim, but they actually end up doing the opposite, because now they're getting people upset about it. I was literally just talking to my girl about this. It's like, you put out a statement because you want to show people that you're quote unquote for or against something, and now you're making people who are for X happy, for or against whatever it is if you're disavowing it, then they're against, right? But you're making one side of the coin happy and you're pissing off the other side of the coin. And let's not forget that Twitch is owned by Amazon, which is one of the biggest monopolies in the world.
I forgot about that for a second. Oh boy. Yeah.
Right. Twitch is now owned by Amazon. So that means that what they are actually creating, they're part of the monopoly already. You know? And so, I mean, we already saw what happened with Mixer, right? Mixer doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So now it's like, where are people going to go? If they have a problem with Twitch, where are they going to go? They can't go to Mixer. You could go to YouTube, I guess, but like, YouTube's owned by Google.
Yeah, YouTube's owned by
You
Google.
know?
Yeah. And then it's like you could go to D-Live, but they just banned a conservative on there, and now there's uproar. So it's like, I don't even, it's going to come to a point where it's like there's going to be two completely different sides of the internet. It seems like. That seems like the only solution to this.
Right.
And I don't think anyone who is supporting Twitch's decision here is even aware of this.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's like I don't think they don't really understand what's happened throughout history when you start doing stuff like this. And it's one of those things where I think they won't see the effects of this to them for probably maybe 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then once like there's really two sides of the internet happening, and like you have people even in the center, or like anything that's like remotely to the right of the left, then once that opposition is like on a total different side of the internet, you're going to see the people who support this kind of thing also get censored.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think at this point, that might be what might have to happen to them for them to get it. Because
I think so. I think so. This next part that we have up here from Twitch, they say, we'll work with the community to design a new emote for the most hype moments on Twitch. Look, okay, great. Sure. You want to have a new emote. I still don't understand why you need a new one when this has nothing to do. PogChamp, again, has nothing to do with what Gutanks is talking about. Like, further, to be completely honest with you, I didn't even know that was Gutanks. I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because first of all, he's 10 years younger in the picture. All right. He didn't have a fucking beard. He didn't have all of this stuff. Like we talked about in the beginning, like when we started doing this podcast, I'm still relatively new to like going to events and like learning about who these people are. I had no idea that was even him. So it's like, dude, like, what are you? Now you're just drawing attention to it. You know what I mean? So it actually does the opposite of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because someone pointed. I was actually watching a streamer. He streams WoW, Asmongold. He had a video on this where he talked about this whole thing, and he doesn't really know who Gutex is.
Right.
And he made a really good point where he was like, this really isn't necessary, because he sees what Twitch is really doing. They're a corporation. They don't want to distance their advertisers. But he's like, what advertiser is going to come on Twitch, look at that emote, research who that emote is from, look at their Twitter, and go and look at the tweet and go, that's inciting violence. You know how like the steps they would have to go to, like, no one's going to do that.
Right.
It's like you said, you didn't know who Gutex was. You think advertisers even care who that is?
Exactly. Like a specific emote?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, an advertiser's going to go on what? They're going to go to Maximilian Dude's stream or something, and they're going to see people using PogChamp and go, oh, that's the guy who said #MAGA martyr. Nope, we can't advertise with Max anymore. No one's going to fucking do that. Are you kidding me? This is actually, this is why I like it this is why I said before, like, I don't know if he should have even said anything too, because like, there are certain people, like Max is one of those people, right? Who doesn't comment on things. Like literally ever. And I think that's actually smarter too, because when you have these corporations that think that like this little corner of the internet, this Twitter corner of the internet actually matters in terms of like how they can obtain revenue and things like that. And it's part of like, I was talking to my girl about this too. It's like, the mainstream media taking tweets and using that as news. And now there's this whole idea that like things that go on Twitter, like actually matter. My girl actually said something really good, which was anything that happens on Twitter, anytime somebody tweets something, it's literally the equivalent of some random guy screaming it in the middle of the street. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually, because because both sides of the aisle are kind of just in agreement that Twitter's kind of like a public forum,
right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Could talk.
Exactly.
So like both sides agree with that. It's like I don't see how this isn't screaming in the middle of the street. Like,
right? That's
just,
all they're doing.
The likes are just people who are around them giving them approval. Like, what is the big deal?
Right. Exactly. So it's like, why? You know, this. All right. So we got one more from Twitch. This is the last thing. They said, we want the sentiment and use of POG to live on. Wait, what? They want the use of it to... They just removed it.
They basically don't want to get rid of PogChamp entirely, I guess is what they're
like,
saying.
you mean like the idea of it, I guess?
I don't even know, actually. Not even mention that.
Because it's like they want the use of it to live on, but they removed it? They're not making sense. They're kind of telling on themselves, I guess. I don't get that. Anyway, Whatever. They say... Its meaning is much bigger than the person depicted in the image itself, and it has a place in Twitch culture. However, we can't in good conscience continue to enable the use of the image. See, they contradicted themselves within their tweet. So they want the use to live on, but they can't continue to enable the use of it. What? Like, pick a side, my guy. Like, this is hedging too much. Look, if you hate Gutex and you don't want to deal with him anymore, just fucking say it. Yeah. Fine. You know, but don't like, what is this like? Oh, we want it to live on. It's part of Twitch culture, but we don't want people to use it.
It's like what is like,
what are words?
Really like the meaning of it or the emote itself. Like, it's like, you know, I don't know what the future is of just like taking things, making it what you want it to look like, and then making this kind of decision. Like, what is this? This is going to be the future of like the internet. I swear. Like,
well, that is it. You're right. It's like taking something. I mean, that's what we saw this. They did this with Trump for 4 freaking years.
Yeah.
You take something that's something said and you spin it and take it out of context to make it be interpreted the way that you want it to be interpreted versus how it actually is meant to be interpreted. You know, and that's what they did with him.
Yeah, it's like a lack of care to understand what the intent was.
Right.
It's like no. Right. I have a preconceived notion of what that is. Right. I know what that is. Therefore, it is.
Right.
And
exactly.
This is what every company is doing, and it's like, this is the future, and every monopoly like big ass corporation like Amazon is going to get on board with this, as we just saw, you know, like for this past week.
Yeah, man.
You know, with Parler getting taken off of like Amazon host service, that's really crazy. Amazon hosting services.
Yeah,
you can't host your app on a like under a company that doesn't agree with certain opinions.
Right.
It's like, you're gonna have two sides of the internet, and that doesn't help anybody.
Right.
I you know, it's like that's really the only option at this point, from what I'm seeing with like the kind of the conversation that's going around with our culture. But it's like, we really should be talking to each other, even if we're screaming at each other. It's better to just like talk to each other than just talk to our own sides.
Well, I agree. I think that like that's part of the reason why, you know, apps like Parler or Minds or whatever exists, right? Like in Minds whole business model is you can't change minds if you don't have conversations.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why when people are celebrating things like PogChamp getting taken off, or people are celebrating things like, you know, Trump getting removed from Twitter. And again, if you guys are listening to this happened a couple of weeks ago. Obviously we pre-record these, but but people are celebrating this kind of stuff, and it's almost as if they don't understand that what you do when you do that, when you remove somebody's voice, is you just move the conversation underground, and you remove the ability for people to push back on them.
Yeah.
You remove the ability for people to question what's going on. So Gutex posts this thing and says, hey, like, are people going to riot like they did for George Floyd? no one's able to now, like, if they had removed him, it'd be like no one's able to ask him questions or tell him why they think he's wrong, or tell them why they think that's a stupid question. You know, if you can disagree and have a conversation back and forth without hating each other, without like having to remove somebody. I think it was I've never watched Game of Thrones, but I saw this meme that I presume is from Game of Thrones, and it was like Peter Dinklage, and the quote was, "When you remove a man's tongue, you're not proving him to be a liar. What you are proving is that you're afraid of what he might say."
Yeah, that's it.
And that is like super fucking profound, because it's true. If you're deplatforming somebody, that means you're afraid of what they're telling everybody. Like if what Trump is saying or Q or whatever is saying is so outrageous, just let them talk in circles. Just let them talk. No one's going to believe it. Why do you need to censor it? You know? So it's the same concept with Pog, right?
Yeah, I mean, what it also does is, let's say one side thinks the other side is crazy. Like, they're crazy, so we got to get rid of them. It's like, well, if they're crazy and you get rid of them, that, like, what do you think they're going to think now? Like, let's say they actually are crazy.
Right.
And they do believe in a crazy theory. And you just ostracize them from society.
Right.
That their way of thinking is only, they're going to, that affirms.
That confirms it. Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, oh yeah, they banned me, I must be right. And it's
right,
get
right.
crazier.
Right.
And it's like, this is what I really see as the future of this division we have. And it's like, we're seeing it in our culture. And, you know, like, politics is just a manifestation of culture. Like, culture is really where it matters.
That's
like,
what
a conversation like this is where it matters. And, I keep seeing people say it's just like, well, it's just an emo. Like, they don't want to associate themselves. It's like, how far does, when do we say, like, it's really not just an emo? Because this kind of thing was unheard of 10 years ago on Twitch. Like 10 years ago, everyone was in Twitch chats just saying wild crap and saying like whatever they wanted, and then some people will get banned from chats and left, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're like we're kicking them off like this is just a start. It's more, I don't see. And again, this isn't the same week that they just banned the president off of practically the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they can do that to him, they will do that to him.
Absolutely.
You just have to give it time.
Well, this was happening a long time ago. This happened with Alex Jones, right? And this is what I said to I posted this on Twitch or Twitter, which was like, the thing that pisses me off the most about this is that there are conservatives and libertarians that didn't speak up when this stuff was happening because they would rather keep their fancy fucking tech job than cause dissent.
Yeah.
And that is why we're in this position where people can remove things based on things that people are saying and start to try to curate the internet. And you're right, it's going to be two sides of the fucking internet. We got this one tweet up here. This was a response to your poll, right?
Yeah. So I basically, just to go through that, I basically ran a poll asking people on my Twitter, like, if what Twitch did for PogChamp was justified. And basically the options were yes, no, Gutex is just bugging out, or no, and Gutex is totally fine. And I think something like 70% of people said yes, and I go like 20% said no, he's just bugging, and then very few people said no, he's totally fine. And I had a few replies, and this reply kind of interested me.
Yeah, this one says, this is from at Gamers OT Live. It says, this is why symbols like the Confederate flag still fly. Not reacting to what can be co-opted into a symbol is irresponsible. There's a reason why Germany punishes people for Nazi anything. Cut things at the root before they can grow. I do understand the concern, though. Now, Germany doesn't have free speech. Just saying.
Right.
Okay.
That's something to point out.
That's something to point out. But also, it is an insane leap to go. Somebody's asking a question about what's going on in the streets. Therefore, their symbol can be co-opted into a symbol of what? Not like it's equivalent to Nazism.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
it's like
pretty wild.
It's kind of like what we said before. It's like it's already a preconceived notion of what they want to see. This is what they want to see. They want to see this as, this guy's a Nazi. Like they've already convinced themselves of it.
Right.
It's kind of why, like, there's certain people I talk to about these things that I like based on their preconceived notions, I don't even bother engaging.
Yeah.
Because they've already convinced themselves of a certain idea. they want to lecture me on that idea.
Right.
So it's like they're not interested in conversing with that idea
Right.
and asking questions. No, they just want to like, this is how it is, and you have to accept it. I'm disappointed in you, kind of thing.
Right.
And it's just like, well, then there's no room for conversation. Then
None.
I'm not going to change. You don't even want your mind changed. You're not even
Right.
interested in that.
Right.
You just want to lecture me, and that's it.
Right.
I'm not interested. And it's like, it's this kind of thing. It's like I feel like this kind of thinking is very common within the FGC particularly.
Right.
Because,
Right.
like things like in an event like what's happening here with PogChamp, it's like, oh well, Gute said a bad thing, therefore PogChamp can be somehow related to this.
Right,
Like,
right. Therefore,
Nazi.
PogChamp is now a symbol of what I deem to think is wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And I think this statement right here, where it says, cut things at the root before they can grow, is kind of incorrect. Like we
Right.
said earlier, it's like cutting things out from the conversation will brew it.
Right.
And, like,
Exactly.
and we're going to see that over the next few years.
Right.
Like at this rate.
Well, all that happens is if you take somebody off of Twitter, right? They're just gonna go to fucking 4chan,
Yeah.
where they don't censor anything.
Yeah.
Right. 4chan literally was created, and they just walked away from it. I don't think people even maintain 4chan. I think it just exists. You know. And so, like, now you're gonna move these conversations underground to a dark corner of the internet, or like the toilet of the internet, as I like to call 4chan. And Reddit is the bathroom sink. But like, people are just gonna go there, and then they're gonna have their conversations. I mean, you see all types of weird shit on 4chan.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like you've just removed their ability to communicate. Somebody actually said that to me online the other day on Facebook. Was like, oh, if we deplatform people, then we're gonna remove their ability to coordinate. I was like, no, you're just gonna move them somewhere else where you're not at. You know, and now there's nobody to push back against their ideas. Good job, idiot.
Yeah, and it's another thing that I've noticed too, that it's I mean, like, I feel like it's kind of pointless to point this out, because I feel like the other side doesn't really give a shit. It's it's like kind of like this whole idea of like, we have to stop the extreme, like you have to stop them from gathering. It's like, nobody said this last year. When
Right.
people were burning shit in the streets. Like, Twitter didn't do any of that. They didn't block like Antifa for organizing themselves on Twitter.
They encouraged it.
Yeah, I would. They put it on the search bar. Like,
Right.
when you go to search bar, news trending. It's like people are
Right.
like they put it in your face. So it's
Right.
like no one's really at. And again, I think it's because they just don't care. Like I
Right.
feel like the other side doesn't really give a shit anymore, and that's why it's kind of like pointless to point out. It's like, this is kind of what, like, this kind of culture where people who support banning things and getting rid of ideas, like this is all they care about. They don't care about hypocrisy or like moral. They don't really give a shit. It's
Yeah.
just, I want this gone. I think this is wrong. That's it. They don't
Yeah.
really care about the conversation anymore. And that's, we're going to see some really ugly repercussions. I think,
Absolutely, because all that means is that everybody is on the chopping block. Like, people don't understand why free speech is really important. It's because in order to also to remove bad ideas, you need to have better ideas, push back against it. But if you have somebody who's arbitrarily deciding, or a group of people, let's say, arbitrarily deciding what is negative speech, what is banned speech, or whatever, that post can be moved infinitesimally. It could just be completely moved whenever. You know, like, I could say something today that tomorrow could get me banned from Twitch.
Yep.
You know, and we were even talking about this on my last stream. I had a really good stream the other night. You know, we had a couple of people in there, and it was really consistent. We were all talking about a bunch of stuff. And it was like, we're talking about like some of the stuff that had happened at the Capitol, and I was like, man, like, honestly, like, I'm kind of worried that I might get banned from Twitch if we talk about this stuff.
Could happen.
You know? Luckily I'm still smaller, but like, it's like, you know, I don't know what kind of a leftist regulator they had, because, you know, they put together that moderator commission or whatever with like the Deer Girl or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know who's like creeping on my stream ready to fucking hit the ban button because I said that, like, I think that they should have burned the Capitol building down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's like, you know what I'm actually predicting is, because there's going to be, you know, there's quite tens of millions of people who are on a total different, you know, opposite side, that, you know, with like, who has a different perspective on, you know, on all these things. So it's like, I don't think these giant tech companies are going to manually start banning people. What I think they're going to do is they're going to start putting in keywords. So like like MAGA might become a term. Like once you
Right.
say that on Twitter, like just gets you banned automatically.
Right,
Like it
right.
might become that. And judging by how the other side is like supporting this, it's like they wouldn't have a problem with it. I know they wouldn't. They would probably support it
It's
and
wild.
cheer on for it. So it's like just even mentioning certain letters and words is just going to get you kicked off automatically because they're not going to be able to manually ban like millions of people. They don't even care. They don't care about any of that. So
well, they already have that on Twitch, right? There's like banned terms and things like that. And like I constantly have to because my audience is kind of similar to yours where it's like they just say wild shit. And like so I constantly have to be like one of these. I need to get a mod at some point because I have to like constantly be permitting people to say things. People will say like random stuff and I'll see and it's like blocked term. And I'm like, why is this blocked?
Yeah.
Come on, just let them say whatever the hell they want. Like I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like I mean, we saw that with the blind playthrough thing. I remember like that was like they banned that word to like not offend disabled. I don't know, some arbitrary shit that Twitch made up.
I don't actually know about this.
Yeah. So the if you put blind playthrough in your stream title, that could be considered ableist or something, and you could get your stream banned for like 24 hours or something.
But a blind playthrough just means you've never played it before.
Not at Twitch. Like this is what they've decided.
What? So do they think they're interpreting as you're making fun of blind people or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Like somehow.
How are they? First of all, how are blind people going to see that?
That's the first thing everyone said. It's like, what are you talking about?
Like what? Like that doesn't make any sense. So do they remove blind playthrough from the tags or something?
I think I don't know if they got enough pushback for them to remove it. I didn't really see an update. It was basically like for stream titles. So now like people are putting like first playthrough now. They're changing.
Yeah, that's what I have first playthrough. Like when I'm doing Persona, for example, it says that.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird.
It's like it's the same thing with the word simp and all these other words I got that one moderator like 2 weeks ago was talking about on that video conference. It's like this is going to be the future. Certain word that just they don't want to see on their platform. And like you said, which I totally forgot, Twitch is owned by Amazon.
Yeah,
they are for all these things.
Right, exactly.
Like this is really the future of this.
You know, and they already, like I said, they already got rid of Mixer. Mixer's gone.
Yep.
So that you can't go to Mixer. You go to YouTube, I guess. YouTube's owned by Google. They're probably gonna have the same kind of reaction. I mean, like we just saw, Google also joined Apple in removing Parler from their store too, right? Yeah. Because they won't comply with the censorship that they want. So the alternative to Twitch is owned by a company that does the same shit.
Yeah. And that's why when I keep seeing this very common argument, it's becoming the most common thing ever. It's just like they are a private business. I understand that they can do what they want. This kind of thinking is under the notion that we have like a fair capitalist system where you have a bunch of different companies competing against each other. We no longer have that. We're entering into like a state of corporatism where like 3 companies own. It's gonna be like Midgar.
Right. Exactly.
Or just like several companies just own anything you want to start up. You have to get their permission.
Right.
First.
Exactly.
And this is what we're entering, and it's like people. I remember I actually was defending that kind of thinking like a few years ago.
So
I didn't really
yeah.
foresee this kind of thing getting this bad. And it's like I definitely changed my stance. It's like shit, it really can get this bad.
Right.
Like we really let it happen.
Right.
And this is really what's, and now we're going to have like 2 different sides of the internet.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have people like, you're going to have one side own like Apple and Google phones. And then like other side, like I know like Gab.com is going to have their own phone.
Good.
Soon. Like
they should.
Like, this is what we're going to have to do. And like, we're going to have separate messaging app. And
dude,
again, it's really crazy. I mean, I guess this is a solution, to fight this kind of thing. But in the long term, it's we really have to be talking on the same platform.
Well, so the problem is that the companies that are on the one side, the Amazons and the Googles and the Facebooks and the Apples and all that stuff, they are in bed with the government. Yeah. And that's what the problem is. It's not the private company. It doesn't hold up when those people are in bed with the people that are making your laws.
Yeah, exactly.
That's complete. That's the corporatism that you're talking about. It's crony capitalism. It's not real capitalism because the government is protecting those interests.
Right.
And so that way they can make it so that like you can't compete with them at all. You have 2 sides of the internet, that's fine, but if we still share the same government, we're fucked. And this is what people were talking, I think it's like Eric July posted, because he's been talking about how the Capitol building is the den of criminals, and I've been retweeting the fuck out of that shit because dude, one of the things that he said was, it's amazing that y'all think that y'all can't even exist on the same social media platform as these people, but you think it's okay that we share a government.
Yeah.
That's insane. And I completely agree. It's like,
I'm with that.
You know, we can try doing the two sides of the same internet. It's not going to hold up unless we fucking break up into two different countries.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that with a friend where I was just like, I think the best option is splitting up.
Yeah.
That seems to be the most like peaceful. Like, I mean, the UK did it. I mean,
right, exactly.
It's not impossible, and it was peaceful too. It's not totally impossible. You could have some state. I think like Texas is doing this, where the legislators are trying to get through a vote where the people vote if they want to leave the union.
Oh yeah.
So
Texas has been trying to do that forever. They've been trying to do that.
Yeah,
for
I did hear
generations.
that too. Yeah.
And Vermont too. Vermont and Texas have been trying to secede from the union for decades, literally. All right, let's go back to the Gutens thing because we have a little bit more time, and we also have a couple of more tweets that we want to go through that were responses to this. We have two from Ultra David that we want to talk about, which I'm not gonna lie, I have this guy unblocked for now, but as soon as we're done recording this, I'm gonna block him because I'm kind of tired of this guy. So his thing, he says, I blocked Gutex, and I think you should too.
7,000 likes.
Oh yeah. Let's 7,000 likes, 966 retweets, 90 quote tweets. Only 90 people push back on this. Maybe, right? We don't even know if they were approving of it.
I think I actually checked the quote tweets. It was most people saying, "Yeah, bro, just like cheerleaders and pom poms," and maybe two guys who were just like, "You're an idiot," and that's it.
Yeah.
And then
the next thing he says a bunch of people are talking about it. So I'll just put my take here. Yeah, I'm definitely down with getting rid of the PogChamp emote or replacing his face on it. And if it gets replaced, hopefully with someone else from the FGC instead.
It's not going to happen.
You know, one thing that Xano said about this that I agree with is that all I see is a bunch of motherfuckers looking like they're about to suck a dick.
That thread was so cringy. Just people posting their faces like, "Here, give me clout, please. Check out my stream, put my emo." Like that's all I kept sawing.
Come on, man. You guys are that fucking desperate for clout?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking in the camera now. Y'all motherfuckers are some weak bitches. If you're listening to this and you want to be a PogChamp, you're a fucking weirdo. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just gonna say it.
Come on, bro.
Come up with something different. How about this? If they're gonna remove PogChamp, do something else. Why don't they do something else?
This is a perfect time. It's just like,
yeah. Why do you need to have somebody imitate it? Because honestly, most of the people who are gonna see that, or if they see a replaced PogChamp or whatever, they're gonna be thinking of the old PogChamp. You really haven't done anything but displace like what you're trying to remove. You haven't. Yep. It's like taking it's like trying to get water out of a cup by like pouring more water into it. Like, yeah, you did, but you're not really accomplishing much.
Yeah.
You know? It's just so weird.
All this really did was polarize more. That's all this did, honestly.
100%. I mean, like, now this is like really making me fucking worried about Twitch. I mean, not that I wasn't already worried, but like, you know, because these motherfuckers already have like their coalition of leftists trying to regulate things or whatever. And like, you know, the FGC, man, honestly, like there's certain things that I feel like the only reason we're talking about this is because this is a conversation happening in the FGC. Realistically, we shouldn't be concerned with this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't. This podcast should be us talking about fucking fighting games that we like and strategies. But now, we gotta respond to this fucking nonsense because we got all of these people that think that they're political experts all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because the mainstream media told them that MAGA was bad.
Yeah.
You know?
The man on the TV said it.
On the TV said it, exactly.
No one wants to even, ask any questions anymore. It's just like, well, the guys on the TV said this is how they are, therefore it is. That's
right.
That's all that matters.
Somebody said to me the other day, well, MAGA is for white supremacy or something like that. And I said, okay, what proof of that do you actually have? Other than what Anderson fucking Cooper said to you.
Yeah. I shared something on Instagram and someone basically said the same thing. It's just like well, that girl at the Capitol, she's supporting white supremacy. So in my head, I was just like, okay, you've already convinced yourself
Right, yeah.
that anybody who identifies or wears that hat is an evil person.
Right.
I don't know how I can talk to you.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I don't know what I can say to make you think otherwise. That is a deep. It's almost like a religious belief.
It is. It is
it's
a
like
religious belief.
It's like they worship the it's like the religion of leftism, man.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it is. And you're not the first person to point that out. That's 100. I mean, dude, we have literal. I will find a picture of this and I'll put it in the edit, because there are literal candles, like Jesus. You know those Jesus candles? They have those, but with fucking Stacey Abrams and like the Squad on them.
Yep.
And you're gonna tell me that this isn't a fucking religion?
Yeah, it's a cult. It's like it's, like the past week or so, I've seen like a lot of I call them like surface level arguments. It's just like, well, BLM this and then MAGA this. Like they keep comparing like the very like the semantics of it.
Right.
And every time someone's been trying to do that with me, I'm just kind of like, I don't even really care about that anymore.
Right.
I don't think we can even we don't even have because I'm of the opinion that anyone to the center or to the center right are no longer protected citizens.
Oh no, not even close.
Kind of era. So like we don't even have the privilege of even like arguing those semantics.
Absolutely.
Because anyone on our side who argues those semantics, they're gonna get kicked off.
Right.
And in due time, as long as the rate everything's going right now, if it continues, this will only get worse. So I've just been pointing out, it's just like, we've kind of held this privilege for too long. We don't really have this privilege anymore of going back and forth about the semantics of things.
Right.
Pretty soon, like we're gonna be living in two different realities.
Yeah. I mean, we already are, man.
We already are.
Scott Adams talked about this. We're watching two different movies. This was when Trump got elected. He was saying that like basically we have two different realities. In one reality, Trump does a speech and he's holding a gun. And the other reality is holding an apple. Basically. And people are seeing, like, no matter what, it's so polarized. You can't convince people that he's holding neither, for example, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, even on like a micro level, you're right. It's like people can't, like, people who are more like the way that we think. I mean, I'm sure there's things that we disagree on. You know what I mean? We haven't really found too much. I think we found like maybe two things or whatever, but we talked through them. Yeah. But people can't even, like, as soon as they disagree with somebody now, they want to just shut that conversation down. I was on another podcast. I think I might have talked about this on one of the episodes, but I'll reiterate it. This was like, at this point, this was like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I was on a podcast and it was a bunch of black guys and they were talking about white privilege or whatever. And I said that I don't believe in white privilege. I just don't think that it's a thing. And they freaked out on me, jumped on me, like 7 people jumping on me. And I wasn't even able to explain my position. I got kicked off. Yeah. The guy goes, "Wait, you said you don't believe in white privilege?" I said, "No, I don't." Kicked off. Wasn't able to say anything. Wasn't able to explain why. Wasn't able to state my opinions. Right. It was literally just, I heard this buzzword. You don't agree with me on this, therefore you can't speak anymore.
Right.
What the fuck? I thought this was America. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's I'm glad you brought that up, because this is one thing I've been pointing out lately to some of my friends. It's just like, the thing about having a country is everybody has a fundamental unity. Right. It used to be the Constitution and personal liberties and anti-statism. Right. It's no longer the case. Yeah. Like, I would actually even argue that the Constitution has kind of failed, because it failed to predict that people would. It had the assumption that people in our country would always be anti-state. Right. They have this idea that we always want the power. We don't have one government to have power. Right. That is not the case anymore. Right. Half the country wants the state to have power for their own for their own privileges, and this is why. Splitting up is probably the best option, because we don't unify on anything. Right. We don't have a common threat. See, like you and I, like you said, we may have like semantic disagreements. Right. Fundamentally, we agree on the same. Right. Exactly. Personal first principles. On principles like liberty and freedom of speech. Right. Exactly. So doesn't. They don't think that's a thing. And it's like, and this is what I was trying to tell a friend of mine. It's just like, maybe the left can't change my opinion. Maybe I do have my own certain biases and whatnot. However, I do believe that we should be talking about it.
Right.
And if we don't share that common belief, you're gonna have this polarization because you don't even think I should even be in the conversation.
Right.
I think we should be conversing.
Right.
Even if it's like yelling or whatever it is, as long as it's not, completely set, like put each side to their own corners.
Right.
But it's gonna. I don't see another option at this point.
Right.
Because again, the United States of Midgar is gonna like force it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's almost as if these motherfuckers never played Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Come on, man. There's plenty of examples in sci-fi of why what's going on right now is bad.
Yeah.
Plenty of examples. And it's amazing to me that gamers in particular don't understand this. You know what I mean? Like most of the stories, even if you want to just take the FGC, right? What's the fucking story of like King of Fighters or Street Fighter, right? It's always some big corporation putting on some fucking tournament to try to take the powers out of the fucking the competitors.
Right.
It's always some fucking corporate interest that is painted as the bad guy. And you're going to play into corporate interests now?
Yeah.
You didn't learn anything from fucking playing Street Fighter 4. Come on. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's wild. And like, even if you, like, I was playing, the last RPG that I beat was Skies of Arcadia for the Dreamcast.
Right.
That game has such an anti-corporate, anti-globalist message. The bad guys are the globalists. The bad guys are the ones who want to take over the world and have them all think the same way and live the same way. Those are the bad guys. It's like, it really blows my mind that like gamers in particular don't understand this, because we have been being told stories that warn us against this for our entire lives.
Yeah.
But now it's just, oh my God, it just bugs me out. It bugs me out. It really does.
Yeah, it's like it's this idea that I can trust the people in charge. That's kind of how I think it is.
Right.
They believe that they have their best interests.
Right.
They never had. That's
just
really
need the
the
right
reality.
leadership, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Oh,
I just told like I had a friend who thought I was crazy talking about this. He's like, because again, he's on the opposite side, so he doesn't see the repercussions. I'm just like, I was like, in 4 years, I hope I'm wrong. I'm probably going to be right though. Where I'm just like, because I say X, Y, and Z, I can't. My bank account's going to get rid of my bank.
Right.
Yeah. Basically, rid of my bank account. Like.
Right.
Or maybe like my employer somehow found out. It's like, we don't want you here.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's going to be the future. It's looking like.
Right. It's really sad. All right, well, we're at 45, so we're gonna continue this conversation on the next episode. Obviously, thank you guys for listening. Ceelows, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on twitter.com/CEEL0WS or youtube.com/Ceelows. I'm getting that started again. So
Sweet.
Check out the YouTube.
Hell yeah.
And also on Gab. I do have a Gab, so gab.com/Ceelows. We are preparing ourselves for this second internet that seems to be coming about. So I'm on Gab. I just started literally like yesterday. If you're watching this, it'll be like 2 weeks, but I got that going. Gab is kind of on, like, it's getting more servers up and running, so it has a lot of traffic right now, so no one could probably really use it as well as they want as Twitter, but give it time. That's where you'll find me.
Okay, cool. And you can find me on for now, you can find me on Twitter at Real Mr. Behavior, but I do also have a Gab. Gab.com/Mr. Behavior. I'm also on Minds. That's the one I'm using the most. Minds.com/Mr. Behavior. And then I'm also on Parler. If you'll find another server. It's Parler.com/Mr. Behavior. And then again, YouTube.com/Lokes Takes. That's where I do all my like gaming stuff. I don't really go into political stuff too much on there. It's mostly gaming, but you should check it out. Check me out there. And also, if you want to contribute to the show, all of those links are going to be down in the description, so just check that out. And we appreciate you. Thank you. This has been the Anti-Oki Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
They say you must defeat Shen Long to stand a chance, but homie, you're dead wrong. just take a glance. Attack me if you dare, son, I will crush you. I'll crack your back, you should be scared, son, I'll bust you. Just go home and be a family man. If not, I'm gonna have to destroy your anatomy, man. It's natural for someone like me to be the world's strongest, because I'm on this, just being honest. I astonish, my
Sonic boom.
flash kicks are right here waiting for you. Wanna get your ass kicked for your plastic. Your kung fu is weak and mine is chic and spastic. Fantastic, you're not a warrior, you're just a beginner. Get up, wimp, and bask in the glory of a winner. My strength is much greater than yours. I'm a street fighting legend, the creator of wars. No use debating the score, I've waited patiently for someone to pound through the ground. I'll smash your face in the floor. Get lost, dog, I'm the boss, you can't compare with my powers. I play this game for the fame, they claim to hundreds of hours.
Listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no, you'll never win. Yo, listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no, you'll never win. No need to worry, a state of euphoria. I won the tourney twice, now I am the world's warrior. Using my kung fu to destroy you. Flurry of kicks which only your performer hard do. Ken's a competitor, write you out like an editor. Stay ahead of the pack, flame attack like a predator. I ain't stretching the truth, my dull Sims the tightest. I'll leave you burnt to a crisp with elephantitis. Need to charge up to bite, scrap attack with Blanca. Yo, I'm warming up my engines when you lose to Honda. There's no doubt my win count will hunt ya. Wanna try and win again? We'll let their dish you for one to. Every street fight is better the second time around. I've learned how to throw down, I'm KO bound. Do I punch light or medium? No, I punch hard, because I'm pretty sure I just kicked a boo up a car. Yo, you're looking like vomit, I busted suplex atomic. I fill the room with the boom that sounds supersonic. Tiger flame so feisty, uppercut so nicely. Sagat will brew you up a batch of Mai Tai iced tea. Listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no, you'll never win. Yo, listen, listen, it's a tournament edition. Challenging me, it's just like pissing in the wind. Doing KO since I was 1 day old. Keep on wishing, man, cause no,